Do not adjust your digital device. What you are about to see and hear may shock and appall you. Join our hosts as they encounter countless thrills, spills, chills, and hilarity as they explore the very weirdest in pop culture. The following media is so strange, so beyond the scope of what is normal, it will make you ask the question, why does this exist?
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Why Does This Exist? I'm Chris.
And I'm Rob.
And we've got a really nice show all planned out for you today. Today we will be talking about a cinematic disaster, if you will. A horrendous move so bad that it nearly killed the superhero business with an all-star cast. This is basically the producers of superhero movies. We are of course talking about Batman and Robin, a 1997 superhero movie, the fourth Batman movie. This was back in the days when only Batman and Superman could make money in the box office, and this did not. this was a critical and financial disaster with the top actors, all the biggest names. And they hired the worst actors for the job. They're good actors in their own right, but these parts were just not for them. They ended up hiring the worst actors for the job, the worst writers. The director was probably the worst director for this job, but it was kind of his way of saying, you didn't give me what I want, so screw you. We'll get into that a little bit later. And it was just start to finish terrible, plugging in all shameless plugs, Bat credit cards, you name it. This was a debacle beyond any recognition. That Batman himself would not approve of these items in there.
Arnold Schwarzenegger makes 27 ice puns throughout the movie.
27?
27 ice puns.
Oh my god. I think that sums it up for you. But we will be getting into that in just a few minutes, and we just got to give us a little bit. Just let you know a little bit about the deal, a little bit about what we do here, and while you're here, if you're new to this thing, thanks for coming, thanks for finding us, thanks for checking us out. I hope you haven't shut anything off by now, and if you have, well, tough shit. If you are here and you do enjoy this, then you may be into bondage, BDSM, and other sadomasochism, and that's totally fine by me. We are Why Does This Exist? We are a podcast revolving around the weirdest in pop culture, past, present, future, whatever it is. If it's weird, we're gonna talk about it. If it's happening, if it's happening, or if it has happened, we're gonna talk about it. If it was planned and didn't happen, we're gonna talk about it. At some point in time, maybe we should counteract this with the Superman Lives movie that never happened. That might actually be interesting.
The one that was going to be directed by Kevin Smith.
Yes. That actually would have been nice to talk about on the View Askew Universe, but it was not the Kevin Smith show. It was the View Askew Universe show. So that is a separate item. But if you really like what we're doing and you want to give us a couple extra bucks, you can head on over and support the show by heading on to Patreon. That's patreon.com/whydoesthisexist. And you can give us a couple of bucks. We'll give you a shout out. We will say hello. We'll talk about some things that you would like us to talk about on the show, and you can even choose to give us our episode. You can dictate what we're going to talk about. You can dictate an episode for us as long as it's not something horrible, too offensive. But most things are not. You can And you can also have access to our watch-alongs, listen-alongs, access banter by heading over to that Patreon. Patreon.com/whydoesthisexist. And if you want to leave us a tip or give us something to talk about, tell us how we're doing, you can drop us a line at whydoesthisexistshow@gmail.com. And for extra content as well as access to all of our episodes, you can find us at whydoesthisexistpod.com. There's a couple of articles up there now. I've got to add a few more. We will be adding a few more. We have a new writer that will be coming in pretty soon to help us out on a couple of things. He might be more of a movie guy. So expect some really interesting commentary from this individual. He's worked with us on the Bonesaw. He's a very nice guy, but when his stuff is up there, I'll let you know, and then we will reveal the new writer for you. You can also listen to us wherever your podcasts are found, but specifically, you can find us on Podbean, YouTube, which we encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. On Apple Podcasts, we suggest that you give us a review. Google Podcasts as well. Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, TuneIn, Alexa, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes. And we greatly appreciate all that. Thank you for listening to my spiel. Now let's get on with the goddamn show. Batman and Robin. Could have been good.
One of the worst superhero movies ever made.
Yeah, that's what we got. Arnold Schwarzenegger, George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, who I only know from Batman Forever. I'm not sure what else he did. He
was also in Scent of a Woman, which was actually kind of a really good movie.
Oh, that's
it was like a film.
No, that's with Al Pacino, and that's like one of Al Pacino's craziest roles.
Yeah. Which is weird that he went from like that movie where it was like, it was almost like a clinic in acting to like this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he did after.
I think he's in like the remake of Hawaii 5-0 or something.
I didn't know they did a remake of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, NCIS Los Angeles. Yeah.
Okay. Did Alicia Stone have a career after this too? She was also in as Batgirl.
Yes.
She's still doing things.
I don't actually know.
All right.
I think recently she was in something.
Okay. She does. She's published vegan cookbooks. That's
interesting.
Cool. Good for her.
I mean, she's done like movies since then. I don't think any like major movies. It looks like, but
yeah, it looks like she was in Beauty Shop, which was kind of.
She's done a lot of television too. It looks like.
Yeah. All right. At least she still had a career after this. Good. At least both of them did, and Uma Thurman, who.
Well, Uma Thurman obviously had a career.
Had a career after this. The Bride and Kill Bill, which will be another good episode to talk about. I mean, I guess the Quentin Tarantino, cinematic universe would be a good one, since there are several theories that they all take place within the same universe for the most part.
Yeah,
that would be a neat one to do. But yeah, starring all of these people. Arnold Schwarzenegger actually had it in his contract to have top billing over George Clooney, although he is Mr. Freeze. Uma Thurman is Poison Ivy, and the guy who was Bane was like a jobber in WCW.
And he passed away, I think a month after this movie came out.
Yeah, I think he did.
2 months after the film's release, he died of heart failure.
Jesus.
So for this to be your swan song, that's not good.
No, well, I mean, Raul Julia's last movie was
Street Fighter. That's true.
Street Fighter, and Bob Hoskins' last movie was
Super Mario Brothers.
Brothers. So
but you know what? So I have this thing where I kind of like to watch bad. So like this is one of those movies where like it's bad, but I like to watch it.
Yes.
And same thing with Street Fighter. And I will say Street Fighter, Raul Julia's performance in Street Fighter is just like it's like so amazingly over the top. Like,
no, it's exactly
oh,
what the movie called for. It's just
exactly.
movie.
Yeah. Well, it was bad putting, making like the all-American hero Guile a friggin' French guy or Belgian guy,
Yeah. Well, we didn't have John Cena at that time, which
That's true.
actually that would be
But
really funny if they like did a Street Fighter remake and they like.
I would not be surprised if they did that.
I could see it for sure.
Yes.
I mean, he's in Suicide Squad. Maybe they'll do it at some point, but that would be
Really? He's gonna be in Suicide Squad?
Yeah, he's in the new one. He's like I don't know what the hell the guy's name. He's like some like patriotic dude. His name I don't think his name is the Patriot, but I don't know the name of the hero that he is.
Suicide Squad's got a lot of like weird,
Peacemaker.
obscure
Peacemaker,
characters.
that's his name.
Okay.
Peacemaker. And Pete Davidson's going to be in there too. That's cool. And
Suicide Squad is kind of weird
for some reason.
they've got so in general, I mean, like not just the movie, but like the Suicide Squad in comic books, they'll have like a few like recognizable people, like Deadshot, and I'm pretty sure Deathstroke was in Suicide Squad at one point. But then like all these like really weird, obscure like supervillains, superheroes, anti-heroes, that like are like barely ever mentioned in anything else.
Right, it's kind of the island of misfit toys.
Yeah. Like the guy with the shark head. I don't even know what his name is.
I don't know. They have so many people, and Great White, I think, is his name.
Yeah. It's just like these random people that like really, I don't know.
They're like minor villains. They're like
Yeah.
minor villains.
But then they have like major
they
villains
have
like Harley Quinn and
Well, yeah.
predominantly Batman villains, obviously, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they the reason that they got to throw in like one or two like major ones is like so that you can actually like have an incentive to like go see it or like go read.
right.
Essentially, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, like it wasn't like they had like known actors to like star in it, and that's why
Yeah.
it's like that was intriguing enough to see that. But like,
I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy was a little bit different though, was because it was like like the comics
I'm only using
were,
that
like-
as like a preference because that was why like WB Studios or like the DC universe or whatever, that was why they like
Oh yeah.
Suicide
They
Squad
did.
was just to like piggyback on Guardians, but Guardians
Yeah.
like a much different film, just in every sense of the word, and it was overall a better movie, and it wasn't like thrown together. It was like they
Yeah.
thought behind it. It wasn't micromanaged by a studio.
Well, that was the problem. I mean, especially when they came out, and I think Deadpool too kind of like drove Suicide Squad a little bit because now all of a sudden like they were like, okay, we can make a successful R-rated superhero movie,
Yeah.
Which there really hadn't been since Blade 2, because Blade Trinity was kind of poorly received. So I think
Blade Trinity was terrible.
I like Blade Trinity though. I thought it's actually my favorite Blade movie. I like
Really?
2 and Trinity. Yeah.
It's fun to watch, but it's a bad movie.
Well, I'm not saying it's a great movie. I don't think any superhero movie is like a great movie. The only superhero movie that I would say is a film, like a really good movie, is Logan. But
Yeah.
pretty much all the other ones, they're just they're not good movies. You're just going because it's fun to watch,
Yeah. Have you ever seen the black and white version of Logan?
No, I'm not.
Oh, it's really great. It's
Yeah.
much better in black and white. Like
I'm sure.
it has that like old western feel to it. It's very
Yeah.
it's very cool. It was a good artistic decision to like just do that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, well, that was a great movie.
Yeah.
Like,
But all right, we're already off topic. We're already off
Yeah.
topic. These poor things.
Well, not that far off topic.
No, not
They're
that far
superhero
off.
movies.
Not that far off, but yeah. Batman and Robin is an atrocious movie, but it's fun to watch. I think
Yes.
we were starting with that is that it's one of like there's bad movies that are just like, oh good god, this is atrocious. Why am I watching this? And
Yeah.
bad movies where it's like, this is so stupid, but I love it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and which
This-
was pretty
This
common in
falls
the
in the
90s.
latter. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a best worst movie. This is one of those type of things where like you want to watch it because you know how bad it is.
Yeah, the late 90s had so many of these types of movies. You had like Batman and Robin, you had the American Godzilla with Matthew Broderick,
Yeah.
Independence Day, Con Air, like just the stupidest, like dumb movies, but they're just fun to
I mean,
watch. You know, they're
basically
like,
everything Nicolas Cage did in the 90s.
well, yeah,
Like
face off.
yeah, everything except like everything up to National Treasure that he did was like just pretty bad.
Yeah.
Um, what was like a
But I mean, this does really kind of go above and beyond because Batman Forever. So, like, for
well,
those
even
who
Batman
don't know,
Forever is not that good.
yeah, exactly. And so for some of the younger listeners that might have not have watched the '90s Batman movies, uh, there was a series of Batman movies in the. I think actually it was late '80s was the first one came out. '89, I think, was Batman the original
Yeah.
with
Well,
Michael Keaton.
well, the first two were Batman. Well, Batman and Batman Returns
Yes.
was directed by Tim Burton, and Tim Burton he didn't sign on, or Michael Keaton didn't sign on, so like he decided he wasn't. So like Tim Burton was done with it.
Yes.
Forget exactly what it was, but I think it had to do with Michael Keaton not wanting to do the third movie.
I believe so. So after that, Joel Schumacher took over for the next movie, which was Batman Forever. And whereas, you know, Tim Burton's directing style is obviously very dark and atmospheric, Michael Keaton's, or I mean, not Michael Keaton, Joel Schumacher's directing style is like over the top, colorful craziness. And I think what he was trying to do was trying to kind of like recapture some of the campiness of the 60s Batman, but also like combine it with some of the more darker elements of the 90s Batman.
Right.
But it kind of like did not really work because it was just a little bit too over the top.
Well, because I feel like what was in his head and what came out were two different things, or his vision wasn't fully realized. But also, it was just like you were just trying to make two different movies, and like you just they happened to like bump into each other.
Yes.
It was like, should I laugh at this, or is this a serious part? Like, why are they playing it like is this dark or is this funny? Like, what is it?
Right. And
like,
then also
Batman and Robin just ramped it up to like 11. Like, it took what Batman Forever did and it just ramped it up. Where like
the other
full camp.
Yeah. The other problem that you had was that you had a new Batman at this point now every movie, because you had Val Kilmer for Batman Forever and then
Right.
George Clooney for, and the thing is that they're trying to keep this like consistent where like it's one series and it's like the whole lore of like these four movies is connected, right?
Because
so, like,
Alfred is exactly the same.
Yeah.
The actor who played Alfred is the same, and I think the actor who was Commissioner Gordon was all the same.
Yes, Commissioner Gordon and Alfred and Robin were all played by the same actor.
Right.
Robin was only in Forever and the third or the fourth one, Batman and Robin, though. So, and I'm pretty sure they do reference the other movie. Well, I think like in the Batcave you can see like the Riddler's like costume in the background and like the case or something like that. Like, you know, and it's the costume that Jim Carrey wore. You know,
right.
I think, or like when they go to like the evidence room when they break Mr. Freeze out of Arkham, and like you see all like the old like you could see like Two-Face's suit and stuff like in the evidence locker or whatever at Arkham.
Right.
The other kind of stupid thing I think too is that if you're like aware of the lore of Batman, Arkham is supposed to be like an asylum for like the criminally insane. But they made it like in Batman and Robin when they go to break Mr. Freeze out of prison, Poison Ivy and Bane. It's like basically just a prison. Like it's not like an actual like mental asylum. It's you know, it's a prison. They basically made Arkham into friggin' Blackgate essentially.
Right. Right, they kind of just combined the two, or like
yes,
they just made it like the biggest maximum security prison, but that's not what it is. It's
no.
supposed, like you said, it's supposed to be an institute for the criminally insane,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it never works. They keep getting out. Like, who are the therapists there? They're terrible at their job.
They really are
Like,
awful.
honestly, they need to fire every single person that works for Arkham. But then again, maybe the people that are applying to Arkham, like, that's all they can really get. So, like, you don't know. I imagine this would be similar to a to a stormtrooper situation from the Clerks dialogue, where the good therapists know better, so they're never gonna apply to work at Arkham Asylum, and
Yeah.
all like the poor schlubs that are like moving into Gotham or like taking a job at Gotham. So
They just got out of college.
yeah, like maybe that's where the interns come in and everything like that, and maybe that's why all the criminals never get any better. Like that actually would make a lot of sense.
um,
But
what was I gonna say?
the criminals continue to break out. In this
Yeah.
in these movies, they just make it like a regular jail. So it's like, well, that doesn't help anybody. So the consistency is not there.
It's a pretty minimum security prison if you think about it too, because like freaking literally
Yeah, there's only
Poison
like
Ivy
one guard walking, like pacing at like all.
and Poison Ivy and Bane literally just stroll right in, and they're in like the stupidest disguises. They're literally wearing like trench coats and fedoras. Like that's like their disguise. Like it's the most like stereotypical stupid thing ever.
I mean, you probably don't have the brightest guards either. Like, are they get like? I mean, do they like? How do you get into? How do you work for Arkham? Is it a city job? Do you have to like read the chief every morning and then it just shows up corrections officer for Arkham Asylum? Like, how does that work?
It's probably like a
I imagine it's a city job or like is it like a
it's probably
private
like
thing?
county or
I don't
state.
know.
What state is Gotham in? It's probably county or state.
They don't specify this. I don't know if they specify the state ever. I think it's supposed to.
I think it's just east. Yeah, it's like supposed to be like northeast, like a generic northeastern city, basically.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean it's clearly modeled after New York, but it's not New York.
Yes.
I think New York also exists in that in the DC universe, but like
I believe so.
like they're just not there because like Metropolis is supposed to be like Minnesota, I think.
Really?
I think it's modeled after Minnesota.
I thought Metropolis was supposed to be also like kind of like an East Coast city, not necessarily New York, but like
Or Chicago, maybe Chicago. It's one of
yeah, Chicago. I
it's-
guess I can see it.
Metropolis is like a Midwest city. I think it is more like Chicago than and Coast City. Coast City, I think Coast City is either like
Coast City is Green Arrow, right?
Green Lantern, but I think
Green
Arrow
Green
also,
Lantern. Huh?
like flows in and out. I think it's supposed. I think maybe San Diego. Oh, like I'm not.
Oh, Star City is
Stars-
Green Arrow.
Okay. And which one is the Flash? I forget now.
It's a good question.
I forget. Yeah. All right. Here we go. I think I found it. Gateway City. No, that's Wonder.
Gateway.
Star City is Green Arrow. Yeah, that's San Francisco. Central City is the Flash. Okay,
Okay.
that's kind of lame.
Going off
That's a
the
lame name for a city, and then it's National City.
I mean, they're all supposed to be generic names that, like Gotham City. You know, Gotham is often like New York City is called Gotham. You know, like
Yeah. And then
it's
Haven, I guess, is New Jersey.
yeah, Bloodhaven's like Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah. Real nice.
I will say that I do like the design of Gotham in these movies because it's like almost like this Art Deco design, but also kind of like Gothic. It's got this like weird Gothic architecture, and this one kind of went a little bit over the top because there's like these giant statues, there's like one scene where like Bruce Wayne is like donating a telescope to like this observatory, and first of all the observatory it's supposed it's for like stargazing, right? It's in the middle of a friggin' major city, so it's like there's gonna be light pollution. It's gonna be impossible to actually see the stars. And the second thing is, it's like literally the observatory is like on this giant statue being held up by this giant statue, like Atlas almost. And it's like the most like completely like impractical building ever.
Right. It almost reminds me of Rapture in BioShock.
Yes. Yeah.
I wonder if that design took some inspiration from this. But like,
I'm sure. Well, it's like the Art Deco style in general.
This now makes me wonder: does Gotham just get the worst of everything? And
I mean,
it sucks to be there. And like is Bruce Wayne like not actually as smart as he thinks he is, but he's just smarter than everyone else in Gotham who's a complete idiot? Is that how this works?
Could be.
Oh no. And oh god, we're destroying the entire Batman lore right now, and like all of like the things, all of the hard work that DC Comics has like tried to preserve all these years. We might be unraveling all these all these secrets. It's just we're like, oh no, this is making more and more sense. Like this explains why Superman holds back every time that him and Batman fight, because he just knows that because Bruce Wayne / Batman is just literally too dumb to understand that Superman can crush him in an instant. So like Superman feels bad and makes him think that he's winning. Oh no. This is bad. What if everyone in Gotham is really that stupid and Batman just well, I mean, no, yeah, because like his one rule is that he won't kill anybody, and that's why the villains test him, because they want to see if he'll actually kill one of them. So if he does kill one of them, they may actually just stop, because they're like, oh, well, he's killing us now, so like, this isn't fun, like, there's no test anymore, so like, what good is it? And so like, this might just be because of Batman's own stupidity that
I don't know. He does solve all the Riddler's riddles.
What if they're really not that hard though? Like they are. I mean, they are. Like as far as I'm concerned, they are. But I might be just as dumb as everyone else in Gotham City now. So I don't
know. I don't know. I mean, like, Batman's the world's greatest detective, so he's got to be somewhat smart.
But does he call himself that and the people in Gotham, or does everyone do that? I don't know. Because, like, if it's just him and the people of Gotham, then it's just like, then maybe he's really not. Like, what if
he does go to other cities and he's in the Justice League.
I know that. I know that, but what if everyone in the Justice League, like, just doesn't want to tell him? Because they're like, it's bad enough he's the only one without any superpowers.
I don't know.
So like, we gotta get him
over the top now. It's like he's got this whole. It's like the Truman Show, where like everyone's just playing his role.
Oh my god! I mean, you don't know. What if it is?
Or like Shutter Island, he's actually like in a mental asylum, and they're all trying to just like help him.
Oh my god, that would be great. Like
that was there. I saw like a thing once. Someone like did like a fan theory where like Batman actually was in a mental asylum. And, like, all of his villains were actually, like, doctors and people that worked there that were trying to, like, you know...
Oh, my God.
And, like, the greatest villain was, his main doctor, Dr. Joe Carr.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was, like, a crazy, like, fan theory.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
I hope nobody ever tries to, like, turn it into a real thing, because that would...
It probably will.
Affect everything.
I mean, they've done some... kind of crazy stuff with Batman.
No, they have done some pretty bad things, like Batman Venom, which was like it was written by Kevin Smith, where like he basically takes steroids, like he does like he takes the Bane serum and he just like has roid rage.
Oh, it's a little silly.
Yeah, it's one of the worst things that they've ever come out with. But speaking of some of the worst Batman things they've ever come out with, Batman and Robin, the plot point, it just makes no sense because it's like super duper campy and like,
yeah,
it's like Arnold, the whole reason why Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who you said, has 27 ice puns in this, like, everybody chill, freeze, he's, for God's sakes, when he's in his lair, he's in, like, a blue bathrobe. He's in an ice blue bathrobe with, like, like polar bear loafers.
The funny thing about this too is that all the villains, like every villain character of this, is a completely like over the top, crazy like performance, just completely jumping the shark, ridiculous like lines and personalities and stuff. And every one of the heroes is the most wooden, boring like performance ever. So it's like, I don't know what they were trying to portray. Like, oh, it's much more fun to be evil. At least can be like freaking crazy and like over the top. But
I'm not sure. It's so bad. Are they worse than? Are they more campy and more ridiculous than the '60s?
I mean, there's 27
I'm not
ice puns. There's Mr. Freeze says 27 ice puns.
Yeah. It might be.
Remember, he goes to the party and he's just like, everybody chill. And it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. It's like so ridiculous.
I will say that the best scene in that movie is the opening scene when like they glide in the frozen dinosaurs into the museum. But after that, it just goes downhill from there.
I would like to also point out that somehow Batman and Robin.
Also, wait, before you do that, Mr. Freeze is also he's watching The Year Without a Santa Claus, and he's like singing along to the Snow Miser song.
Yes, and he makes all his people sing.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So the opening scene of the movie is Mr. Freeze like robbing this museum for some jewel or something that he needs for his like machine to freeze everything, right?
Right. Well, he wants to freeze everything so that he can everything so that he can like fund his research for like to save his wife.
Yeah, and I actually think that this instance of Mr. Freeze was, I don't know if it was this or the Batman the Animated Series that did it first. It was the first time that Mr. Freeze was made into like a tragic character, because in the old Batmans, he was just like kind of
in the animated series, he's like. They make him a tragic character in the series.
So, which I like the tragic Mr. Freeze, where he's just trying to like save his wife, basically.
Yeah,
but like
it
this
humanizes him.
It almost like you can't like really like identify it because it's friggin' Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's just so over the top with his performance. I would also like to point out, so the first...
He also looks short in this movie. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger is like 6'3", but he manages to look short.
I don't think he's actually that tall, though. Is he?
Well, how tall is he? I thought he was 6'3".
I'm pretty sure he's not. I'm pretty sure he's actually short.
No.
He doesn't even say on Wikipedia.
This movie. That's actually the third thing that comes down. Yeah, he's 6'1". All right, I was off by 2 inches.
Oh, he's 6'1". Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's pretty damn tall. That's taller than I am.
Well, that's
It's like a good. He's got a foot on me. But he looks short in this movie. I don't know if it's all the armor,
maybe,
or the way that they shoot him. But he looks short in this movie. I mean, looks pretty short too.
I was gonna say the stupid. Well, yeah, Spain does look short. It's like I guess I don't know. They should have used like forced perspective or something, because he looks tiny. He looks just like a friggin' roided out guy instead of like a game like friggin' the Arkham series where he's like this gigantic friggin' giant dude.
Well, in the comics, he looks like that too, but he's
like 8 feet tall in the comics, and he friggin' literally like snaps Batman in half.
I don't know why in this one they did what they did, but it was Joel Schumacher.
Well, there was another stupid thing that I want to point out real quick is that. So in the first scene, Batman and Robin come in and they're trying to stop Mr. Freeze from robbing this friggin' diamond from this museum. And so Mr. Freeze freezes the place because, he's Mr. Freeze or whatever. And all of a sudden, Batman and Robin click their heels together and have ice skates.
Oh my god! They
somehow knew they were going to be facing Mr. Freeze, even though he's a brand new villain to them.
I mean, again lends itself to the '60s campiness.
Right. Well, and at the end of the
Everything. They
movie,
had
too,
everything but
he has
shark
like a
repellent.
fucking they have like an ice sled. Like there's like an ice sled Batmobile and like an ice sled friggin' like Robin mobile, or I don't know what they call it.
I don't know. I used to just call it the Robin cycle. I have no idea if that's what it is.
It's not even like it's like it looks like a friggin' like a sled with a giant fan on the back. I'm pretty sure in this.
Yeah, I think they do something stupid like that.
Well, someone, I think, like Joel Schumacher was like pissed off because the studio wanted basically wanted to like action figure this movie, so like they had to make so many stupid things like that to make so they could sell a toy for it.
Right.
And I remember the toys.
I was getting to that actually, but yeah, I don't remember. I do remember the toys. A lot of them were just like reskins of like the Batman Forever toys.
Well, pretty yeah, obviously.
Like no, but I mean it was like exactly the same thing except they I know the Wayne Manor / fight scene playset, which was friggin' awesome, by the way. I had the Batman Forever one, which I think I liked better.
Mm-hmm.
It was exactly the same except okay, so it was like a dual-sided playset. So you got two playsets. You got like on top of the roof of Wayne Manor and everything, and like the ceiling broke, and then you got it inside.
But there's not even one scene of a fight in Wayne Manor in that whole movie. It's like
no, none of it. It's like the outside of Wayne Manor. I don't ask. It's like the outside / rooftop of either Wayne Manor or Gotham City or whatever the hell it is. And like in the and then like I think the other half of it is like part of it is the Batcave, and then there's just like a random thing to fight. I think it is Wayne Manor in the Batcave. I think the outside is Wayne Manor. And the inside was the Batcave, and there was like a swinging garage door that you could plow the Batmobile through, I think. But
that's pretty badass.
Yeah, it was a great toy. And the Batmobile was kind of neat too, because it would like the Bat logo in the front would that was like a launcher, so it like shot out. It was really cool. I remember the Batman Forever Batmobile could transform into the Batboat and the Batplane. So
that's pretty cool.
3 of them. Yeah, it was the best toy that I ever had as a kid. But this particular fight, this playset for it was for Batman and Robin, it was literally the exact same thing except they put ice. And they changed certain hues of it from just a gritty gray building to blue because it was frozen. They basically the laziest tie into the movie that they just did for this playset.
Oh,
we didn't own it twice because
it's the exact same toy twice.
Yeah, my parents had the good sense to notice this. Wait, you play with this already? Yeah, I know, but it's blue and it has ice on it.
Yeah, this one has ice, so it's better.
Yeah, it made no sense. And I don't even think I wanted it because I think I was fine with the one that I had. But it was the same exact I remember it was the same Batman and Bruce Wayne toy and Robin toy because this was this was when they did the head flipping toys where they would to the character if you put the thing on, so with the Batman his the cowl had the Batman face attached to it, and I think they went for the Robin head, but if you took that off then it just had the Bruce Wayne Bruce Wayne head would pop up and etc. But they also did that for Power Rangers, and a bunch of them were except Power Rangers it was different. It would open up and they're Ranger helmet would show up because it would almost morph as if it were in the show. Anyway, but that's what they had, and then for the Batman Forever and the Batman and Robin, all they did was just add a Batgirl version that did the same thing, and they just they swapped the palettes up. They made it look more like George Clooney than Val Kilmer, and they just changed the look of the action figure to reflect the costume in the movie, but they were the exact same toys, but they just reskinned them.
Yeah.
But they did that. I don't remember what McDonald's stuff that they did, but they did plenty of McDonald's.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
They threw as many gadgets into this movie as they could. They even threw in the Bat credit card, for God's sakes.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Terrible idea.
I think the stupidest gadget of all. First of all, let me just talk about the whole friggin' like friggin' Poison Ivy origin scene. It's just the most
Oh,
ridiculous. Again,
that was
like
atrocious. We
so
haven't even
they're
gotten to
at
Uma Thurman.
she's like a friggin' doctor at like a friggin' like lab in the middle of South America that looks like a friggin' like Frankenstein's laboratory. There's like lightning striking outside. It's like the most stereotypical like evil doctor's laboratory, right?
Right, and even
Her
even the
boss
doctor is
this
like he's out of his
crazy
mind.
mad scientist. He's a mad scientist. He's like the most stereotypical mad scientist, and he's literally like creates Bane because he wants to like sell him to like the friggin' like some North Korea or some shit as like a super soldier.
Yeah.
And then like he like throws her into like a friggin' pit and spills the fucking poison on her, and she gets somehow this doesn't kill her. She just turns into a friggin' plant lady. and so one of the like main things that she does is that she has like a poison kiss. She could like kiss people and like envenomate them and they die.
Yeah, well that's always been.
So she tries to do this to Robin at the end of the movie, and he stops it by wearing rubber lips. Like somehow just by putting these rubber pieces on his lips, he can stop her, even though they're like literally friggin' like tongue kissing. And it somehow stops the poison. Like, it's like, how? Who came up with this shit?
Well, I mean, in the
comic, that's a good idea.
In the comics, her origin isn't that far off.
I know, but like, it's just
like
it's not even the origin story. It's just the friggin' rubber lips thing is like.
No, the rubber lips is a terrible idea.
And they really tried to jam too much, like, because like Bane's origin
story. Good thing they didn't make a toy of that.
Oh my god!
Could you imagine?
You'd have kids making out on the friggin' schoolyard.
Batman,
like 8-year-olds.
Rubber lips. Oh god.
No. That would have been banned from school probably. One of those toys that got banned.
Honestly, with the toys that they came out with in the 90s, I'm surprised that they didn't like try. I wouldn't be surprised if we found out down the road that like that was actually in pre-production.
Yeah, probably.
Or that they had a prototype and then like somebody like noticed.
Yeah, and was like, this is a bad idea. We're not doing this.
Yeah, there's been plenty of inappropriate toys that are even still made to this day, but like we might have to do another episode on like recalled toys.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty.
Yeah, so
she's ridiculous. In this movie.
Yeah, she is so ridiculous too. Like Uma Thurman's performance it's just so bad. But it's like you could tell that she was just like having fun with it. Like she didn't care. She wasn't trying to put in a good performance. She was just having a good time.
No. It's right. They did like Joel Schumacher
everybody
clearly told them like don't take this seriously.
Yes. Yeah, because it's just so ridiculously over the top. And then friggin' Batgirl's character is so bad. Like Alicia Silverstone in this, I've never really seen her in anything else.
She's
in
just
this
like
movie,
this.
She's terrible.
She's just like the spoiled. She's just kind of like the preppy, like she's just like the preppy niece who's just like, oh, I go to boarding school, but now I'm gonna go hang out with my uncle who's dying, and I'm gonna take care of him, and I'm just gonna do my thing. Oh, hey, what's this? I found a Batcave. Hey, I guess I should go like do Batman things because.
They just happen to have a freaking Batgirl costume just prepared for her.
Yeah, like what would the chances of that be? Like, why would they it didn't make any sense. It wasn't like
he just like Alfred's like this is another ridiculous thing that somehow Alfred programs his brain algorithms into the Bat computer, so basically makes an AI of himself.
Oh yeah, so he turns into Zordon.
Yeah, essentially.
I forgot about that. And
then he goes like, I suspected you might find your way down here, so I already made you a costume. It's like, you don't even know she was going to show up. Like, how did you expect that she would find the Batcave?
Also, he's like that, he's that ill where he can't walk. Like, did he make the costume, or do they have some kind of technology that's just like an auto seamstress? Like, do they commission somebody and they're like, yeah, like do they go to like a fetish shop or something like that, and they're like, hey, we need you to make this. Ooh, this is kinky, hey. Like,
well, wait, he made his friggin' brain algorithms in the computer. Maybe he could just control like a friggin' like one of those like robots that fixes cars, like
I guess
make cars. Like,
it's like there's just so many more questions that come from this movie because of the campy nature and and just like how poorly written it is. Like,
yeah,
and then also at the end, Mr. Freeze has enough stuff. Like, spoilers for humans who haven't watched this, but I mean, if you haven't, like, you could even watch it on free. You could watch it on free for YouTube. You could watch it on YouTube for free with ads. So like, you could just go on and like play this. We're not gonna do a watch along because it's too damn long. But
yeah.
it's you got to check out how like terribly bad this is, and you will laugh your ass off. But at the end, he like does everything that he needs to do to get the cure and all that stuff. He gets the diamonds to like fully power his like blaster so he can freeze the world, and then like work on a cure because the world will be at like such a temperature where his wife will be able to live. I think.
No, he wanted to freeze the city so he could he wanted to freeze Gotham City solid and then hold them hostage for ransom, which he was then going to use to fund his research into like curing his wife's incurable disease.
There's an easier way to do that.
Well,
I'm sure there's an easier way to do that.
He also, so this just so happens, this extremely rare disease that he had to freeze his wife for because she was going to die, right? Extremely rare disease. Alfred just happens to have it as well.
Oh, of course.
But he has stage 1 of it, so Mr. Freeze already cured stage 1. His wife has stage 2. Like, and then at the end, after they like beat Mr. Freeze and he's going to go to like, first of all, he thinks that like his wife is dead because Poison Ivy like kicks out the like a plug out of the wall. Literally, this is what she does. She just kicks the plug out of the wall that's like keeping her like life support on, and then tries to blame it on Batman.
But like so he came up with like also Mr. Freeze came up with this elaborate plan to like do all this stuff, and like he just plugged his wife into the wall. Like he's like
exactly. She's
really
plugged in. Like there's no backup generator or something.
Right, like so if there's just like if like one day there just happens to be a power outage in Gotham, like he's like everything falls to pieces.
Right. So so Batman and Robin basically bring him proof that his wife is still alive.
This supports my theory that Batman is the smartest person among idiots.
Well, they find her in his lair and like bring her to friggin' Arkham Asylum and set her up in the lab there, and basically like, oh, you could continue your research while you're at Arkham, even though you like literally froze half the city, probably killed 500,000 people like from hypothermia. You know, oh, you could just have this. Like, we'll just let you continue your research. Like,
again, this is only proving my point even further.
Well, I mean, that's
like, who would do that? Why would like, oh, he's just a danger to society, so I guess we'll let him just keep doing his work.
And we forgot to mention that Poison Ivy's whole goal in this is to join up with Mr. Freeze so he could freeze the entire world, kill all the animals, and then Poison Ivy's going to repopulate the world with her plants.
Oh yeah, I forgot she even had a goal.
Yeah.
And Bane is just there.
Yeah, Bane is just there. He's just like the hired muscle. He doesn't do anything.
I'm not even sure if they're
paying
him.
Is completely against like Bane in the comics, because Bane in the comics is like a super genius mercenary.
Right, Bane is one of the smartest Batman villains, if not the smartest Batman villain. Like him and Hugo Strange are like the two smartest, and
yes,
like Bane is the first one to figure out Batman's identity as like.
So maybe this in this universe, this is like Batman is like everybody in Arkham or everybody in the world is extremely dumb, and Batman still is like the smartest person, but he just like has average intelligence. He's actually not smarter than like anybody else, but like it's just that everybody else is so much dumber. Like it's just the dumbed down version of Batman.
Okay, I'll buy that for sure. Oh, what if this is the same universe that Idiocracy takes place? It's just years before.
Probably is.
It might be. It might be. All right, we just connected two movies that have nothing to do with each other. High five.
All right.
No.
So Elizabeth Sanders, who is Batman creator Bob Kane's wife, has a cameo role as the most annoying
Does
friggin'
she?
yes, she's Gossip
Oh
Gertie, the most
no.
annoying reporter in the history of fake news reporters in movies.
Oh no. Is she the one with the funny glasses and like the
Yes,
with the feather in it? Oh yeah, yeah, she's the worst.
and she asked the most annoying questions
Yeah,
ever.
she's like, Bruce, who's this new girl?
Oh, like it's like, well, again, the most over the top performances by everyone,
It's
except
awful.
for George Clooney, who's like, you have to like check his pulse every 5 minutes to make sure he's
Yeah.
still alive.
So bad. It's there's nothing that you could do about this movie.
No,
Nothing that you could do to save this.
it's just crazy that it got made with such a huge star-studded cast. Like Vivica A. Fox is in it for like 3 seconds.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
She's the friggin' like chick that tries to hit on Mr. Freeze
that's right. Yeah, Miss.
in like one scene.
Her name was Misbehaving.
Yes.
Yeah, even like just none of this. This is Ellie McPherson was in this. I don't know who she is, but she had a name. She was like Bruce Wayne's girlfriend in the beginning,
Yes.
or something, and like he just yeah they did. They had like a bajillion, not a bajillion, but they had like so many. Like, even Coolio.
Yes, Coolio was in this.
I never realized this. I never realized
The all
this.
stars of the '90s were in this movie, pretty much.
Yeah, I never noticed that. Like,
Yeah, he was like the dude that was like the freaking banker at the stupid motorcycle race. Why is this even a thing? Like in this movie?
Dude, he was billed as Jonathan Crane in that movie. So he was so like that was what they were gonna do with the Scarecrow, because he was apparently supposed to reprise his role in the canceled sequel to this.
Oh my god!
Which, yeah, so this movie, so like the whole like deal, what was supposed to actually happen here with Batman and Robin, like, okay, so Batman Forever was a surprise hit, despite it also being a hilariously like bad,
hilariously bad movie.
like, yeah, besides it being a best worst movie, all in its own right. Batman Forever was a success because it was like, oh well, it's like it's Batman, so it automatically made a crap ton of money.
Well, and the merchandising too.
And the merchandising.
Action figures were like all over the place.
Right. I mean, it also had a great cast. It had like Jim Carrey, who was like in his prime, and it had Tommy Lee Jones, who was also like in his prime. So like,
yeah, pretty much.
And Val Kilmer, and you couldn't really go wrong with it.
No.
Less crazy. It was less like campy, but it was still pretty damn campy. But like Val Kilmer left, and like apparently, like I had read that he wanted that like Joel Schumacher had wanted to do like a darker, grittier Batman in the first place. Like he wanted to do a year one, and the studio kept saying no, no, no. And they were like, make it campy, make it campy, make it campy. We want it to be more family friendly. Like, people aren't, like, nobody wants to see a dark Batman where it's like, once again, another case of of complete morons being at the wrong level in the food chain as far as a company goes. And they were just...
Well, they were kind of going off of what they knew at the time about superhero movies, is that they were way more successful with kids than adults. Like, there wasn't really that many adult superhero movies at the time. I think there was only Spawn. And Spawn, as far as I remember, didn't do very well.
No, it didn't. It was a better movie than this, but it didn't do well.
Right. Or I guess there was The Crow, too. But again, The Crow was kind of a little bit of an obscure movie. It wasn't like that,
Well, also Spawn wasn't a mainstream like character, and it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't that huge at the time.
Right.
He was big enough to like make a movie, but they also made Darkman, and Darkman was terrible.
Oh, I just never even saw Darkman.
Alec Baldwin is in it. It's pretty freaking.
Oh God.
Pretty freaking bad.
I think I've heard of this, but I've never watched it.
Not to mention Howard the Duck. Like every other superhero movie that they made was like in the 90s. that wasn't Batman or Superman, and even Superman 3 was terrible. Like,
Yeah, Superman was not good. Superman 1 and 2 were good, and then Superman
yeah,
3 and 4 were not good.
but like everything was just like everything that wasn't Batman or Superman was A, more obscure of a character, and B, just like because of that nobody would go see it, so it wasn't really like it was just doomed to fail as far as like as far as the box office went. So but anything that was Batman or Superman was like gonna succeed no matter what until Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
I had read that like Joel Schumacher wanted to do something dark. He wanted to make Batman Year One. And he also like he wanted to do another movie. Like he wanted to do an Arkham movie
Yeah.
where like at the end of Batman Forever, Jim Gordon's in a straitjacket. Nicole Kidman comes to see him, and it was a nod to Arkham Asylum. The quote here is that I always wanted to do a whole Arkham movie, and did a scene at the end of Batman Forever where Jim is in a straitjacket and Nicole Kidman comes to see him, and it was a nod back to Arkham Asylum, which I love, and I thought it would be fun to put the other villains in there. And the studio was like, no, we don't want you to do it. We don't want you to do Arkham Asylum. So it's not going to happen. Screw you. It's done. We're done. And he was just like, okay, well then I'm going to make like the most campy thing that you can imagine. He most certainly did.
Yeah. To obviously to a fault, because it's just really out of control.
And the sequel to this, there was a canceled sequel that ended up being called Batman Unchained, where Nicolas Cage was like had been rumored to be in he was going to be he was the role was offered for him to be Dr. Jonathan Crane, or the Scarecrow, if you will. He would have been Scarecrow, which contradicts what Coolio said, too.
Right.
Because, like, Coolio said that he was going to be the Scarecrow, and he was Jonathan Crane, which also makes no sense for Jonathan Crane in general to be, like, a motorcycle, like, in a motorcycle gang, or, like, doing motorcycle races, but that's another story altogether. But this wouldn't have been the first time in that universe where, like, they would have inexplicably like race swapped the character, because like if you remember, Billy D. Williams was originally Harvey Dent, and he was going to be Two-Face.
Yes, I do remember that
in the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Yeah,
and it never happened because then we ended up getting Tommy Lee Jones in the Schumacher verse, but I think they're all in the same universe.
They are.
Well, no, they are because of Alfred and Jim Gordon.
Yes.
He's inexplicable.
And they were always meant to be like the same universe. It was supposed to be like this was supposed to be Batman 4.
Right. And they just inexplicably like had Tommy Lee Jones there, and they like basically like whitewashed the footage that they had done. I think like Billy D. Williams had he had like a scheduling conflict or something like that, so they had to recast it. I'm not even sure, or or maybe because Tim Burton like walked away from it, that like they just decided, oh well, we have to recast everything now, so they just didn't like do it. I don't really know what the hell happened with Billy D. Williams, but we got what we got anyway, and honestly it's probably better off for Billy D. Williams that he didn't do that. But we ended up getting the we didn't get Batman Unchained, which like the cast here would have seen George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell and Alicia Silverstone reprising their roles as Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. Nick Cage is the Scarecrow, which honestly I would have loved to see that. I think he probably would have done that well, because I think he could have been great. I think he could have been, I wouldn't say great, but I think it would have been okay. But like, and better than the Scarecrow that we actually got in Batman Begins. I just kind of like, I just thought that was an underwhelming. Not like the performance, because the guy was good, but like I felt like they kind of like that character didn't get a fair shake, and they like just kind of like it looked like he was building up to like do something, and then like they get rid of him fairly quickly.
Well, that was like and then he makes an appearance in The Dark Knight in the first like 5 minutes of the movie.
That's even worse. He gets
And, and he
right
just
away.
is like immediately caught in like 3 seconds and is never mentioned again.
Yeah, well, I think he's presiding over the court of.
In The Dark Knight.
In The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises.
But he doesn't do anything else, so it's like, well, what the hell was the point of that? Like, you just show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. They didn't like the Scarecrow's never gotten a fair shake in anything.
I think the best
the animated series was the best one.
No, if we're going to include all Batman franchises, Batman Arkham City is the best portrayal of Scarecrow.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we could throw in video games into this too.
Oh yeah, I would say because the Arkham games are their own whole friggin' thing. Like
they are. They're terrific. I haven't played.
Yes.
I haven't played the last one, Arkham.
Oh, it's amazing! It's so good.
No, I've heard. I've wanted to, but I just never owned like a PS4 or an Xbox One. I'm a Nintendo guy. I do have some I do have my PS2 still, and I would like. I probably will get a PS5 eventually, but like not right now. I'll probably get it down the road, like when it's far cheaper and there's more games available for it. Because I miss playing the Ratchet and Clank games, or maybe the Nintendo Direct as of today. Well, as of this recording, it's June 14th right now. The fall, which in about 10ish minutes, it's 11:49. Today it will be June 15th, which is E3 2021's Nintendo Direct. So we'll find out that like they're going to do a port of Arkham Knight, and then I can be happy. But
it would be hard because it's a very intense, like hardware intensive game. I don't know if the Switch.
No, I know. I don't think it can handle it that well either. But who knows? But yeah. So we would have gotten. So actually, I think Nicolas Cage would have been really great as the Mad Hatter, but the Mad Hatter's tiny.
Yeah.
But I think he would have been. I think that would have been great. He definitely has the build for the Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he would have been pretty good at like. We had Courtney Love as Harley, who would have been Harley Quinn, but who was like rumored to be actress never hired. But Courtney Love as Harley Quinn would have probably been awful.
Yeah.
I think it would have been the same Alfred, same Commissioner Gordon. Oh wow! All right, they would have everybody would have reprised their previous roles in a way. So like Jack Nicholson, Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer, Tommy Lee Jones, Jim Carrey as Joker. What? And Jim Carrey as this is the fan wiki is it reads funny. All right, so they all would have been reprising their previous roles, even though I believe they're all dead except Jim Carrey, who they're all of those I think die except Jim Carrey, who is just completely lost it and is just like a blithering idiot in Arkham because he's just completely insane.
Well, Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy survive the end of this movie and both get thrown into Arkham.
No, I know, but according to this, they weren't scheduled to return.
Oh yeah.
Because all of these previous villains they were going to return in Batman's mind as a result of Scarecrow's fear toxin. Because everybody is dead except for the Riddler from those characters. So that would have been interesting to see a hallucination scene. But what is it here? Okay, was impressed with the dailies? What the hell does that mean?
The dailies are what they were filming for the day or whatever. It's
okay, that makes sense.
Like the raw footage, essentially,
Oh, okay. And then when they saw the actual movie, they were like, "Oh, this is a pile of shit. You don't want anything to do with this."
Yeah.
Which I guess kind of makes.
Let's point out the fact
Batman universe just a miracle in itself that it even happened. I guess.
It really killed superhero movies. This movie killed superhero movies. You had a couple that came out after, like Blade, which I think was more successful because it was a vampire movie, not a superhero movie. Right. So I don't really count Blade as a superhero movie necessarily.
Right. I mean,
You
a lot
really
of
didn't
people
have
did.
another
Like a lot of people don't
blockbuster,
even know that Blade was like is a superhero
right? And so you
or
don't really
comic
have a
even.
blockbuster superhero movie again until X-Men. So that's 3 years before there was another. Like they tried to make another, which in movie terms is like might as well be a decade. You know.
Right. I mean,
So
it's crazy
it,
that they even took a chance. I mean, apparently they were trying to make other movies too.
well, I think just the critical response to this just killed it
No,
immediately.
it
They're
definitely
like
did.
became too much of a risk to make it. Although
Yeah.
this did make money at the box office, didn't make nearly as much as the prequel or its previous installments. So that was like a big detractor too. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had tried to like do a live action Batman Beyond film, and they tried to like do like an adaptation of like Batman Year One,
mhm.
and like it just wasn't going to happen. Like they were going to get Darren Aronofsky to direct Year One, and like they were just like this, like what can we even do? And then like Christopher Nolan like pitched something closer to like Year One in like 2003, which was Batman Begins, but
Yeah.
it was like there were so many things. Like even like they had even tried to do a script with Scarecrow, and it was gonna like by Lee Shapiro and Stephen Wise, and it was gonna be called Batman Dark Knight.
Mhm.
This would have been something else in itself, and then the studio was like, we can't do a fifth Batman sequel. Like we're done. We're done with this. So like you said, it did kill the superhero movies like dead for quite a while. I think Spider-Man actually is what like revived interest in superhero movies, and the X-Men movies were pretty good too. Well, after X
Yeah.
two, X-Men and like the Fox X-Men and X2 were pretty good, and then
Yeah.
X-Men: The Last Stand was like pretty crappy. But I think
It was It wasn't that great. It was like meh.
yeah, it was underwhelming. But
Yeah.
I think Batman Begins would come on after. But like if Spider-Man didn't like show up,
Oh yeah, Spider-Man as
then
well.
it
It was
would have just been like there would have been no turning back. And they also had done the Brennan Routh Superman, which it just wasn't that like that wasn't that
no, it was not. I mean, DC has had a lot of problems with movies. Like they really can't get like a good like. I don't know what it is about Marvel that they just did everything right to establish like this whole shared universe with the MCU that just DC just can't get, and they have to keep rebooting. They reboot. They just can't get it like a shared universe that works.
well, it's because DC didn't take its time with it. DC,
Hmm.
like the whole mission of the DC universe, like the whole mission wasn't, hey, we should reboot this universe and we should slowly do, when we should slowly draw it out and we should establish everything and we should just make it good.
Hmm.
Instead, like the mentality of like the morons in like the moronic studio executives were like, oh, we have to piggyback on Marvel's success, so we have to like copy them. We have to follow their formula exactly, and we have to speed it up so that way we can be on par. Like okay, let's just do Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and then we're like or actually they didn't even do the Batman one. They were just like, let's just do Superman and then Wonder Woman, and then we'll do Batman v Superman, and we'll introduce everything, and then we'll
Yeah.
shot the Justice League movie, and we'll hot shot like the Suicide Squad movie because we have to copy Guardians of the Galaxy now, and it just never and it was like we have to copy Avengers, we have to like piggyback off of Avengers, we have to catch up instead of
Mhm.
just organically doing it and making people like it as an alternative to Marvel, or just liking all of them at the same time. Now there is like one universe that we love, which is the MCU, and the universe that we very
Wish was good.
yeah, that we just wish was good, which was the DC EU. I haven't seen the Snyder cut because I don't have 4 hours to like dedicate to it.
I've heard it is good.
I've heard
I
it
heard the
is
Snyder
good.
Cut is it should have been that. Like if it was that, it would have been amazing.
Right, that's what I heard too. I heard that it was very, very good. It's but like I mean you have to understand with that too, like what they wanted him to do, he was like he was like I need like I can't do this in 2 hours and it'll and like make it good.
Yeah.
And then they
Well, they should have done split it up into multiple movies like they did with the Avengers. Like,
right, that's what they should have done. He probably pushed for it. He was probably like I can't like I can't do this unless it's 4 hours. So like we could maybe do two movies, and they were like, no, it has to be one movie. It has to be one movie. You have to make it good. Just do it, and it has to be like 2.5 hours. And it's like you
right.
can't do that. And
Well, it's like if they tried to make
and then
Infinity War and Endgame into one giant movie, it would just would have not have worked. There's just
no,
too much stuff that
it
they
would
have
have been
to talk
terrible.
about. Yeah.
It would have been terrible. Like, but Marvel understood Kevin Feige's vision, and they just let him do what he was going to do, and they
Hmm.
like micromanage him or anything, or if they did, maybe they didn't do it that much, where it was like toxic, like they did here. And then like Zack Snyder, like did the best that he could, knew that he knew that he had to make a chicken salad out of chicken shit, and what do you
Yeah.
do? And then like his daughter committed suicide, which is horrible. So
Really? Jesus.
yeah, his daughter was having mental health issues and she committed suicide. And he
Oh my God.
the project, and then after and then they like got Josh Whedon to like reshoot like they just brought Josh Whedon in to just like finish the movie, and it's because he's a maniac. He just did whatever he just like basically reshot unnecessary things, treated the cast like shit, and like tried to throw his weight around, and like now like the cast is like coming out and like burying him for all of this. So like
Yeah.
he's taking the hit. So it's almost so like and like people want them to restore the Snyderverse. The Rock, who's going to be Black Adam, wants Zack Snyder wants DC to redo the Snyderverse. I don't think that's going to happen unless like Disney buys DC too, which is plausible. Like
Oh, I mean,
rights too, which is plausible.
the way things are going.
Well, also like T-Mobile bought DC like a year like a year ago, and like I mean these are reports. I'm not really in the room, so like you have to like take them for a grain of salt. But I don't know if they're in the room. But like they've consolidated departments. They've cut a bunch of stuff. They basically did like what any company does as soon as they acquire something, and they just like gut it as much as they can to like cut costs, which I think is a stupid bullshit thing that
Hmm.
shouldn't do. But they do them anyway because there's not enough labor protection laws in America. But that's something for another day. We're not going to get that depressing here on the show. Everybody who's listening to this is trying to escape from that. So let me not put that reality into it. But like they came in and they're like trying to get rid of like they're trying to like make DC look as attractive as possible because suppose it was like the rumors are that T-Mobile wants to flip this thing, and they want to like auction off like the studio and the properties and everything. Like they have no interest in having like they have no interest in like having most parts of DC. So like the highest bidder will just take whatever they're gonna auction off. Um, I think they want the comics, but they don't want the film studio or something like that. I forget exactly what it is, but like and like Disney, of course, is interested.
Oh yeah, of course.
So like I wouldn't be surprised if Disney just buys that up too. And then maybe we'll get the Snyderverse back. But they just brought in a new guy they just brought in a new guy for to like run the DC movies studios, and like there's like like I read something the other day that the rumors are that he's looking to like to just like replace everybody there who had anything to do with the DC universe.
Oh God.
So like so like the Snyderverse probably wouldn't get revived under him if
Hmm.
they even do that. I don't know. It's a mess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, how many
It's
times have they rebooted their friggin' continuity too? Like a million now. So every time someone new purchases DC, they reboot the friggin' comics,
yeah.
and it's just so
This the
convoluted
guy?
at this point.
Is this the guy Walter Hamada? I'm not even sure. Uh, Maybe I don't even know. Yeah, I think this might be him.
And like he's looking to get rid of stuff. I don't know. I saw something that somebody knew that like came in and they're like and they just want to like he just wants to like get rid of people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's I'm trying to find the thing, but I know I saw this the other day. Don't make me look stupid, internet. Please don't do this. Oh,
There you go. DC. Oh, that's from 2017.
no, not that. Uh, I don't know. Anyway, they're anyway. So like the shit's gonna hit the fan with this thing. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Discovery wanted. Yeah, this is we got this covered. Here we go. What is going on? Yeah, I don't care about the Facebook comments. Just show me the damn article. I'm just trying to read something so that I don't look like an idiot. But
DCU.
yeah, why is this doing this? Hold on. Oh, okay, yeah, because it was blocking the comments, so it blocked everything else. Good going, DuckDuckGo. Yeah, David Zaslav. Okay, he's the CEO of the new Warner Brothers Discovery. Okay, because WB and Discovery merged, so Discovery bought it. Okay, so Discovery bought that, I guess, or something. No, yeah. So WB merged with Discovery. David Zaslav. I don't know who this friggin' Joker is, but he like no pun intended. But he's the new CEO of this thing. Wants to streamline the entire operation because as things stand, the corporate structure could generously be described as shambolic. As much as many fans would love for him to kick open the doors, boot out the old guard, restore the Snyderverse, that's hardly going to be high on his immediate agenda, but we'll use this DCEU setup as an example with a Reddit leak as the jumping off point. The recent Reddit leak, we should note that the veracity of the claim is entirely up for debate. Oh, okay, so nobody actually knows what the hell's going on. So
of course not.
Okay, so
it's like
so
now
this
the news,
isn't
like
even,
what news sites do is they friggin' like, oh, someone
Yeah.
said something on Reddit, so it must be true.
Yeah, this isn't
Like-
even worth reading. I'm sorry, America. I fucked up. I'm sorry.
It's kind of frightening how
Yay,
like,
American journalism.
friggin' all these companies are being bought up by larger companies, and now I saw the thing before. 6 companies own 90% of all media in the United States. 6 companies own 90% of everything you see: magazines, newspapers, TV shows, everything. 6.
Yeah, that's too many people.
Yeah,
That's
too
few. That's too few.
too few people.
Few people. I'm sorry.
That's too many people. I need one.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm gonna own it all.
honestly, that's probably what it is. Like Vince McMahon is probably just like secretly trying to like buy everything, and that's why
like
cutting
he did with
costs
the
left and
friggin-
right.
Like he did with the friggin' territories in
Yeah.
in the 80s.
Oh God, yeah, that would make that would make sense in Vince McMahon's mind and for storyline purposes, but not in reality. It's just bad. Oh my God, I also forgot that they made the Catwoman movie with Halle Berry. That was also like Drek.
Oh yeah, that was so.
I've never-
like put that out of my mind. I've never seen it, and I don't want to see it.
I've never seen it, but like everything that I've seen that has to do with it has told me enough. But
Yes,
But no, you're right. Like, not to get off topic, but it is horrendous that like only 6 companies own just about everything. It's like, what is it? It's Google, Disney, this, I don't know, Facebook, Google, Disney, Facebook. Like,
no, it's hold on. I'll tell you the 6th company. It is. Hold on one second. Okay. Let's. Why can't I just get like a friggin'? just tell me it. Like they have to have like a giant ass article about it.
So stupid.
I want to know the 6 companies, the list.
Oh, the list. Is it the list of Jericho?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a
you're on my list.
uh, how fun.
Oh my god! Of course I have to friggin' subscribe because it's Insider.
What a bunch of degenerates.
I hate
that they do that too. Why would you do pay?
Because it's friggin' their paper, like newspapers that are trying to like friggin' survive on the last vestiges of that they'll ever have. Because
No, I know
no one
why they're.
reads the news.
Well, I know why they're doing it, but like you're never gonna get me to pay for news. I'm sorry,
No.
never gonna get me to pay for it. There's like I can find the same article from 3 other places written just as poorly, if not worse.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make a difference. Like I'm gonna find the same thing. So like you charging me is just gonna make me get the news somewhere else. So like don't do that.
And now it's not loading. Here we go. So it's Comcast, News Corp, Disney, Viacom, Time Warner, and CBS.
Jesus Christ.
Those are the 6 companies that own 90% of the media in this country.
Wow. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder everything sucks.
Yeah.
This is also what's wrong with the journalism industry and the news industry anyway, is that these like billionaires and these like tremendous companies like bought them. So like whoever's the CEO of that company, like they're ordering the newspaper. We probably talked about this before on the show, but like they're ordering like they're like changing the narratives of
Oh yeah.
that they own in whatever their political beliefs or agendas are. So that's why everything is as skewed and like divided as it is, because you have somebody who who has no business being in that industry,
Mm-hmm.
just saying, "Hey, we need to be super left because I'm super left."
Well, it's like Jeff Bezos owns friggin' the Washington Post, and goddamn does he use it to push his like beliefs, basically.
Right, and then like you have that where it's like, okay, these are my beliefs. If you don't like it, go to somebody else who has the opposite beliefs, and then it's just it's just kicked back and forth like between people who don't give a shit and they just want to push their own agendas. Where like now you have like now this is what people are believing is the agendas of 6 people essentially, and I'm sure I'm sure that's split 50-50 too, as far as like their like political divide, but it doesn't make a difference because they're all on the same yacht hanging out. Just like talking about how stupid the rest of the world is because they've made it that way. So that's the biggest issue with media now, is just that the wrong people are running it. And like independent outlets, you'll probably get the truth, but like the independent outlet, but who knows who owns the independent outlet? And also the independent outlet just automatically like gets like shunted away, and like they'll tell you that it's like alt right or it's like far left or it's like super conservative. So like basically the larger the mainstream media outlets on like the left and the right end of the spectrum are like telling you, hey, don't listen to the independent outlet. They're the ones that are lying. Where like the independent outlet is probably the one that's telling the truth, or at least they're trying their best to like keep the original idea of journalism alive, which is like to be unbiased and to not take a stance on anything, or to not just blatantly say just to not blatantly say this is fake because I say it's fake, but what I'm saying is absolutely true. Like don't like the other guys are lying. We're like now you have to read like 3 separate articles just to try to determine what the truth actually is from 3 different viewpoints. So and like nobody's gonna do that. So good luck. It's all bad. It's all bad. That's why I quit that business. But we're at about we're at about an hour and 20 right now, I think. Yeah, 123. So closing statements on Batman and Robin. Oh, they also had a Batman and Robin roller coaster, which was very, very cool in Six Flags. But that too had its own fair share of problems. I believe the Robin part broke down all the time, or the Bat, like one of the two broke down all the time, because like it was two roller coasters side by side meant to duel, and like they like only had a half track because it was meant to go backwards the second half of the ride, and that even that fell apart too. Like one of them like just one of them just kept breaking down all the time, to the point where like people were like, they were just stuck backwards at the end of the ride because there was not enough momentum for it to like do anything, so it couldn't even finish the circuit. And like they just abandoned the ride and they shut it down because it was like too expensive to run. I had gone on that ride. It was fun. I went on the Batman side because it was taller. I think that may have been the problematic one. And it got dismantled completely and sold off to, I think, a Brazilian theme park, which I think also had its own financial problems, and they were gonna respray it and like brand it down as like rebrand it as like something else. And they never did anything with it, so like it's just dismantled in pieces somewhere in Brazil. I don't even know where it is. Oh, and they also didn't have the blueprints. That's what the problem was. Like they dismantled the roller coaster and they shipped it off without the blueprints, and like so like they had no knowledge. So like the guy who bought the roller coaster had no knowledge of how to like put it back together. So like it's just there wasted. It's just hilarious.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, but that's what happened in a nutshell. Was like this thing was like they built a ride, it didn't work, it got dismantled, and like
it ended up rotting in a friggin' yard somewhere.
Yeah, never to be rebuilt again because well, you know what? Maybe whoever the guy was that dismantled it was like, you know what? No, this is a cursed ride. No one should ever experience it ever again, and they just like burn the blueprints. I would think that that's what happened, but it's probably it probably just got lost in like in transition, like from New Jersey to
Brazil.
I don't know. Maybe the cargo guy just like, you know, got rid of it or didn't load it or whatever. Maybe it couldn't get through customs. Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I would like to think it was. So Batman and Robin the ride basically turned out exactly like Batman and Robin the movie.
Yeah.
This is when life imitates art. All right. Any closing statements on Batman and Robin?
It's a pretty bad movie.
Yeah.
But it's pretty fun to watch.
Yes, it's a bad movie, but you should enjoy it. There's like it's a great drinking game. If nothing else, it is a great drinking game.
Yeah.
Like
and some of the classic freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger lines are in it, so I mean, it's like you gotta watch it just for that.
Well, exactly. I was just saying that's a drinking game all by itself. Is just
right.
Shot every time Arnold Schwarzenegger, like every time Mr. Freeze makes an ice pun, like
you'd be dead.
You would be.
27 shots, Jesus.
In like an hour and a half. Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
The way that you said that reminded me of like of in Star Wars A New Hope when Luke is at the Tatooine bar with like the outlaws and he's just and like the guy's like, he doesn't like you. I'll try to be more careful. I don't like you either. All right, I'll try to be more careful. You'll be dead. Also, one of the best interactions. All right, but long story short, I have to say the same thing. Bad movie, but it's so bad it's beautiful. You need to watch this because you won't believe it with your own two eyes, and you will have a lot of fun. Watch it with a bunch of friends. Maybe watch it at midnight. Have a few drinks in you, you know, just crack up. Social distance, of course, but have a really good time and have fun with it. I don't have much else to say. Thank you, everybody, for checking this out, staying with us, and enjoying all of our, all the silliness that we had to exert on a very, very, very silly movie that nearly killed the superhero movie industry. But
Beat it down to a pulp for a couple of years.
it put it on life support. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
Came out of its coma, and now we have great things like the MCU. We still have some bad things like the DCEU, but that's different.
Well, we still have good things like the Batman Arkham games, which are
Yes.
pretty amazing. So
Yes,
there you
we
go.
do. There you
Oh,
go.
DC's good at video games.
Yeah, DC's good at video games, and they're good at animated movies. They're not so great.
Yeah,
Like live
animated
action,
series too.
Yeah, live action not their strong suit, but the animated movies are still really, really great.
Yeah.
But I think that's all the time that we pretty much have for today. Thank you guys very much for coming here and checking everything out. Once again, you can find us over at you can find us over on YouTube at Why Does This Exist? Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell that nobody likes, do all that stuff. You can also find us on Podbean, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, TuneIn, Alexa, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes, and you can also find all of our episodes as well as a couple of additional articles. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook at twitter.com/, at WDTE pod. And I believe it's also Facebook.com/ why does this exist pod, something like that, something along those lines. I know that sounds terrible, that I don't even know what the hell my own thing is, but hey, I'm an idiot. What are you gonna do about it? It's your fault for listening. If you like what we're doing, head on over to Patreon if you would like to be so kind and give us a couple of dollars. Patreon.com/ why does this exist? There's plenty of goodies there, and you can even pick the show that we want to do if you want to give us a little bit of dough. And you can also email us at whydoesthisexistshow@gmail.com. And all of this we are eternally grateful for, and we thank you very, very much. It's facebook.com/ why does this exist pod. Thank you guys for all that you do, and stay beautiful. Don't forget, question everything.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. I'm Chris.
I'm Rob.
Bye.